Hey everybody, it's Party Elite, introducing a most exciting animal to our North America Pack DLC Showcase miniseries. I'm sorry, I can't help myself. Really pleased with today's episode and today's Enclosure. I get to tap into some of my favorite stuff, and if you've been following the franchise mode playthrough on this channel, or if you've seen some of the other miniseries for the various DLC on this channel instead, you might be well aware that I have a particular inclination towards cultural exploration, let's call it. I'm a big fan of it. I love looking at other cultures, other histories, other mythologies, and stories. I've always loved it, and I love the opportunity to share what I love with other people, and we're going to be doing that today. So I'm really excited for today's Enclosure and time lapse here. I want to say right off the bat, if I get any pronunciations incorrect, if I get any details incorrect, please don't hesitate to correct me if you know better. Again, I'm only as good as my research, and though I did spend hours researching everything you're about to hear me say today, sources change, new historical evidence comes up, details come up, and we learn new things all the time. So it's very possible that I might have things a little off or very off. And again, like I said, if you know better, do not hesitate to correct me in the comments. I will happily learn. There's always time and room to learn. So today's Enclosure is focused around the Ojibwe culture. Now, important to note, the Ojibwe are a specific nation of the Anishinaabe. Now, the Anishinaabe means original people. So you've got the Anishinaabe, and of them you have many nations, and the Ojibwe is one of them. Now, the reason why I'm focusing on the Ojibwe is because of this fascinating sentiment that I came across during my research, that I believe the exact words were, "Whither go the moose, so go the Ojibwe." And the idea is that the moose are at the very center of Ojibwe culture. They are integral to the survival of the people, and without, I believe the exact quote was, "Without them, we will cease to be Ojibwe." So I thought that was really quite compelling, and I wanted to touch into or tap into that sentiment and tap into some interesting Ojibwe visual motifs as well. As a Torontonian, as a Canadian, a lot of our land in Ontario especially it has a history with the Ojibwe and the Anishinaabe in general. So of course there's a personal connection here as well that I wanted to sort of pay tribute to or tap into, however you want to term it. And I'm really glad I got to actually do that today. So I do hope you enjoy the stories I'm about to share and the visuals I'm about to share. The first thing I'm building over here is another very popular indigenous icon. It exists in many forms, it comes in many different visuals, and it comes with many different stories, but the Ojibwe specific one is the one that I'm trying to build over here. It is the Thunderbird. Thunderbirds are mythical beings that, again, across different subcultures and different peoples serve a different purpose, but for the Ojibwe, they are the bird that was created. They're a spirit, to be clear, that was created to protect against evil spirits. They come through, if memory serves me right, every spring, and they leave in the fall. So when they come through in the spring, they defend us against the evil spirits that arise from the water. And that's kind of their big MO, is they're a form or a source of spiritual protection. Now you might be wondering, well, what does spiritual protection have to do with the moose? Well, while the Thunderbird has us covered as far as spiritual protection and spiritual sustenance, perhaps let's call it, the moose, as I was saying earlier, is integral to the Ojibwe people because it provides physical sustenance, physical protection. The moose is integral to the survivability of the Ojibwe people because of the meat it provides, the hides, everything. And I believe it's in the fall that you actually hunt and harvest moose, and then that'll last you for many a season. From what I've been reading, it'll last you many a season. So we have the spiritual protection with the Thunderbird, and then we have the physical protection, if you will, with the moose itself. There's actually also a bit of a connection on the bird side of things, where there's this story in which there's I believe I don't know if it's the entire like Ojibwe nation or if it's just a small group within, but they're basically suffering because they have no moose. And so again, look back to the quote from earlier, right? They have no moose, and so they're not able to sustain themselves. But an owl flies up north and finds a herd of moose living extremely happily, just absolutely thriving. And so the owl then guides the Ojibwe north to the moose, and then they're able to thrive as well because they've now, of course, found the animal upon which they're so reliant. And so there's that kind of bird connection as well with the owl. And then I really quite liked the. I felt like there were a lot of layers there, and some of it might feel a little like I guess tangential at times, but this is what's so thrilling to me when I get an opportunity to explore stories like this. And you'll have to forgive me because I do love sharing these stories, so I do maybe sometimes go a little like overboard with like, okay, let's share like 5 of them today. But it's some really interesting and fascinating stuff. And again, I wanted to get the Thunderbird in there because I feel like it's very iconic imagery. I feel like it's very familiar imagery that people across the world have seen, but it's often misinterpreted or misunderstood or just just seen as art without like the cultural like connotation and meaning. So I thought this was a nice opportunity to touch on it a little bit and get a bit more sort of information out there about it, some of the specifics. It's like a lot of the time, like for example, slightly tangential I suppose, but like totem poles, it's very easy for people to be like, oh yeah, Native Americans, totem poles. It's like, that's not how it works. Totem poles are from a very specific people, from very specific regions. And so I believe I spoke about that when we did Elitsu North, and I had an opportunity to talk about like the Inukshuk and stuff. So I do like, I try to at least disseminate some information when possible. Now, again, I'm sure there are countless other stories. I'm sure there are countless other interpretations and countless other points of reference we could use as well. And I would love to hear them if you know any, off the top of your head, or if you find any in your own studies and research, if this has, intrigued you to do so. But those were some really interesting stories that I came across. And again, just to reiterate the tangent I went on 30 seconds ago, I feel like the Thunderbird is one of those things where it's very familiar imagery, but sometimes it's not known as anything beyond its visual impact, and it is beautiful. It is beautiful. And just to be clear, in case I've misrepresented my work here, this is the top half of the Thunderbird. There is a bottom half as well, but I've gone with the top half to create a sort of canopy. Oh, right, and how could I forget to say this? Of course, the Thunderbird itself is acting as something that provides shade in the area. It is the hard shelter, which of course ties into the greater conversation about protection and yes, a bit more of a physical sense, I suppose, but just bridging the gap between a sort of spiritual protection conversation and the physical, literal provision of shade. I mean, again, it's all interpretive, folks. I try to be very, if you're familiar with the channel, you'll notice I try to be very careful about this kind of stuff. So I hope you've enjoyed this execution here today. And we're going to take a closer look at it and see the waterfall and the beautiful just trees and vistas in action. But that'll be in regular speed. Alright folks, we are back from the time lapse, and I gotta say, for a densely packed enclosure like this one, I'm pretty pleased with how things have come together. I feel like we might, over the course of this session, the rest of it, add a couple more trees and just bring a bit more life to some of the less alive spaces, I suppose we could call them. But overall, I am quite satisfied with the views from an actual sort of guest's perspective. From up on high, obviously, it starts to get a little funny when you look into the distance and you go, well, where are all the other trees? But I think when you get down to the viewer's perspective, the actual guest's perspective, you have a pretty grand monument over here in the middle and a pretty impressive sight behind it. This tree line is quite nice. You come up close, you look through the glass, and you got a pretty nice little waterfall going on over here. If you decide to go around back and take this little trail, this very Very overgrown trail. You go up top over here, you get to the rocky mountain top, and you've got a nice vista over here, another angle to look at the moose from. You're among the trees. I feel like there's quite a bit to appreciate in this little space, and I do think one thing we'll need, I noticed like immediately as we went down to the guest's kind of viewpoint, I realized that the weird fall off in tree density is a little evident like right in this area. So I feel like if we do that, that's a bit better, because you can see how like kind of gets blocked off over here. That's a fair bit better. I think we could add a few more, maybe if need be. We can add a few more, but I'm overall very pleased with how this enclosure has come together. I was a little concerned that I wouldn't be able to pull off our Thunderbird imagery. Hopefully I've done it justice. Again, I try to be very careful with these kinds of references, of course, but I did want to tell the very compelling and interesting stories that were associated not just with the moose, but the Thunderbird as well, and sort of I thought it was a golden opportunity to try and go back to some of the roots from Elite Zoo North. Those of you that watched the franchise mode Let's Play on this channel from the first episode will be familiar with some of my inclinations as far as cultural connections and exploration and storytelling is concerned. But folks, enough about the enclosure. Let's talk about the animal. We're of course getting the moose, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they feel in this space. It's large enough to house them. Again, I don't read Zoopedia before building an enclosure, but I do like to quickly check up on their space requirements to make sure that we're not missing a major component, and then all of a sudden all our work is wasted. So we have about between 2 and 3 times as much room as they need, so I think we'll be okay as far as space. But I'm curious about their sort of requirements as far as terrain and stuff is concerned. I imagine they want quite a bit of snow, so I've put snow down, but I haven't put any coolers down. We'll see how they feel, and we'll make adjustments accordingly. But apart from the moose coming in today, we might also have a beaver baby coming through. It was pointed out to me in the comments. Again, folks, I do read all of the comments. Things have been a little hectic lately, so I haven't been able to necessarily keep up with replying to them in sort of actual written replies, but I have still been reading them all. I have still been sort of keeping a track of them all and keeping them all in mind as best as possible. And it was pointed out to me that we have, well, a couple of things were pointed out to me that I want to touch on. One is, well, we have I can't find the appropriate beaver right now, but we do have a baby beaver coming. It was also pointed out to me that under the nature tab, there are now branches. If we go ahead and search branches, if I get rid of these guys and these guys, so there are now branches that are smaller and can be used to make things like beaver dams. So again, thank you very much for that. A little pointer. I will keep that in mind if we get a chance to sort of rebuild or build a new beaver enclosure at any point in time during our franchise playthrough. But yeah, apart from that, let's go ahead and stay on task over here and take a look at the moose. A must-have at any North American zoo. Oh my god. All right, the moose. Alces is how I'm guessing that's pronounced. Near threatened. I actually did not realize that they were in even a remote bit of trouble. Moose, honestly, just like the gorilla and the silverback, just completely like impresses me. Like I'm in awe of a silverback anytime I gaze my eyes upon one, whether it's in real life or in like a video or just a photograph even. The moose is sort of that equivalent, except on all fours, I guess. I mean, gorillas are on all fours as well, but you understand the difference. You understand the difference. Moose are very impressive to watch in action. They are they're like tanks. The way they just plow through anything. If you've I've not had the fortune / I have had the fortune of never being too close to a moose. It feels like a terrifying place to be, just like next to a moose sounds terrifying to me. But I have seen a lot of like videos and stuff, and they are just impressive. They're so powerful. You can see them just literally plow through like shoulder deep snow, and at great speeds too. Like I don't mean like trudge through, I mean plow through like a vehicle. Like just punch through it all. They are super impressive. They're massive. They're terrifying, and just honestly awe-inspiring. I look at footage of moose just walking around, and it's impressive. I see them sort of fighting like for dominance and stuff, and it's impressive. And I see them literally just running through snow like it's nothing, and that's impressive. Now, I don't know if it'll actually be touched on here in one of the fun facts or anything, but from my understanding, moose is actually the word moose is derived from the Ojibwe word for moose, which has a couple of different spellings. There's M-O-O-Z and there's M-O-O-N-Z, because the O-O is a little like nasal in the Ojibwe, so it's like, I assume I'm going to get this wrong, but it's like moons. I can't do it. I can't do a nasal double O. But that's where the word moose is derived from, if memory serves me right. Again, if you know better than me, feel free to correct me. But I'm fairly certain. I'm like 90% confident in that statement that it's derived from the Ojibwe word. But with that said, near threatened, like I was saying, a bit of a surprise to me, because they seem like just undefeatable. But I guess that is a global statement, right? This isn't just North American moose. They are available, or not available, but they are found elsewhere as well. Population in the wild is 300,000, which is, okay, I guess it's a fairly low number if you consider all of like Northern Europe and stuff, as well as northern like North America, sorry. So one of those days, I guess. All right. Various subspecies of moose are native to Norway, Sweden, Finland, Russia, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland, the USA, and Canada. They live in boreal and deciduous woodland, and their diet consists mostly of the young shoots from trees and woody plants. The moose is a large deer with thick brown fur and a noticeable neck hump. They have a characteristic nasal proboscis. The Alaska moose is the largest subspecies. Males are extremely large, measuring between 5.6 and 7.6 feet tall at the shoulders, have a head body length of 8 to 10.2 feet, and weigh 838 to 1,540 pounds. Adult male moose have large palmate antlers that may or may not be covered in velvet, depending on the time of year. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not familiar with this. I need to know more. The antlers of the Alaska moose have a span between 4.6 and 6 feet. Like I was saying, these guys are majestic. They're absolutely just... Even reading these numbers is blowing my mind. I don't have to see one. I can see it in my mind's eye. Female moose are similar in size, but weigh significantly less, usually between 441 and 1,078 pounds, and they do not have antlers. The moose is not endangered. In most of its range, populations are stable. However, in some areas, unsustainable hunting and habitat destruction has reduced and fragmented their numbers to a suboptimal level. Now, I am curious, when this game makes reference to unsustainable hunting, what exactly is it pointing at? Because there have been cases in the past where the game's copy, I find, is critical of... It's critical. It sounds critical. I don't want to say it is critical, because that's implying something that might not be intentional. But it sounds critical of sort of indigenous or ancient methods of coexisting with nature, and I wonder about the unsustainable hunting line there. And I wish there was more detail. I mean, I always love when there's more detail in Zoopedia, so I wish there was a bit more detail about some of this stuff. But my God, though, looking back at some of this stuff where there is a lot of detail, these numbers are insane. These numbers are just absolutely, oh my God, they blow my mind. But here you can see their range. It is quite large. They're found basically across the Northern Hemisphere. I mean, like right by the Arctic Circle, I suppose. They're a little bit below it, I guess. Right, the Arctic Circle is a little bit higher up, I think, if I've got my like map roughly right. But they're like right across. Oh, you know what I should have checked is, okay, yeah, we're good for a couple of adults. We should be fine here. Ooh, like we're just fine here, eh? A couple of adults and a couple of juveniles. Well, let's see what actually happens as far as their size, their herd size is concerned. Okay, 1 to 4, up to 1 male, up to 3 females. So we should be able to do, whoops, not that, but this. Yeah, we can get 3 adults and then 1 juvenile perhaps, maybe even 2. Okay, 1 juvenile. That works for me. If you want to do 1 male, 2 females. But we'll probably do 1 male, 1 female, and then have room for some kids, right? Anyway, I love this new thing, by the way. And for those of you that are requesting that I check out some of the other new features like path related and the sit down animal talks, I think we will spend some time and explore those in this mini series as well, just so we can see some of the new updated features too. But thank you for pointing that out. Again, I always look for feedback in the comments, so do keep all that stuff coming, so I know exactly what y'all want to see and don't want to see on these or in these mini series. So group size, like I was saying, is 1 to 4, up to 1 male, up to 3 females. Male bachelor group size is just the 1 solo, and the female bachelor group size is 1 to 4. Dominance is bulls fight over mates. Antler size often determines victory. Okay, fair enough. Okay. I assume there's just a technical advantage to having bigger antlers, you know, when you're comparing a 4-foot weapon, let's call it, right? Like if I was sword fighting, or if I was just, you know, boxing, I guess I think I would prefer to have a reach of 6 foot over a reach of 4 foot, right? I'm guessing that's what it's suggesting here. I imagine with the bigger antlers, you also have more leverage. So when you're like kind of twisting and turning and pushing, you kind of exert more force when you have the bigger antlers. This is me just trying to like extrapolate from this one sentence over here what the actual implications are. Trying to understand the what the kinesiology of two moose fighting. Is that what it would be? The kinesiology is that the right? No. What is it? The biophysics of it? There's a term for it out there somewhere. Anyway, mating system is polygynous. Relation with humans is confident. Yeah, I'm sure it is. And guests cannot enter the habitat, which is funny to read because sometimes in parts of like northern Ontario and just northern Canada and just more rural parts of Canada and suburbs of cities of Canada, you'll sometimes just have moose kind of roll up, you know. So it's kind of funny. Guests can't enter the habitat for obvious reasons. Size is 6.6 feet tall at the shoulder for males, 6 feet tall at the shoulder for females. Life expectancy is a 20-year average across the board. Weight is an average of 1,100 pounds for males and 814 pounds for females. Huge weight discrepancy despite relatively similar sizes, actually, as the overview kind of pointed out as well. And I do wonder, I guess it's just like muscle distribution and stuff like that. It's interesting. Sexual maturity is at 2 years. Sterility is at death. Number of offspring per mating event is 1. Gestation is 8 months. Interbirth is 12. And reproduction in captivity is difficult. The beaver was also difficult, wasn't it? Interesting. Social needs. Moose are solitary animals that only meet to mate or compete over mates. Well, what about the female bachelors? How come they go up to 4? I mean, I'd like an answer to that, but maybe reproduction has it for us. So, reproduction. During the mating season, males do not eat for 2 weeks while they focus on locating, guarding, and copulating with a mate. I'm already completely thrown off. So when they start fighting, when they're fighting over a mate, they potentially have been starving for the last 2 weeks? Wild. All right. I mean, they were already impressive. That just makes them even more impressive. Man, okay. Males and females will bellow to signal to mates. Males will hear female calls from long distances and track them from the sound. When a female is located, a male will remain close to her and guard her until she becomes fertile. If another male locates the same female, males will assess each other based on size and antler span. If there is a male who is clearly the greater competitor, the other male will concede and leave. Okay, see, okay, so antler size will determine victory without a fight. So that's okay. I'm glad they added details over here. So sometimes a male will just be like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna head out. You got this one. I'm leaving. I'm good. That's interesting. There is clearly like a threat assessment going on, right? That I don't know if we've read about that in any other antlered animals Zoopedia entry, at least. I'm sure it's behavior that exists elsewhere as well, but this is the first time I think we've read about it in Zoopedia. That's funny. Anyway, so yeah, if there's a male who is clearly the greater competitor, the other male will concede and leave. If they are evenly matched, males will fight by locking antlers, and the victor will continue to guard the female. He will remain with the female for up to 3 weeks. During this time, the female will have a fertile period of 15 to 26 hours when the male will mate with her. Wow. After her fertile period is over, the male will leave in search of other potential mates. If the female does not mate during her fertile period, her estrous cycle will begin again and she will be fertile again in 24 to 25 days. Wow, that's really interesting. I wonder if a part of the endangered, or not endangered, but like the near threatened status of the animal isn't because of that really slim period of fertility every 30 or so days. I imagine there is a mating season, right? So it only lasts so long. That's very interesting. That's a very short time span of fertility. I don't know. This is all conjecture, obviously, but that's interesting. After a pregnancy of 9 months, the female will give birth to 1 or 2 calves. 30 to 40% of pregnancies will be twins during productive years when food is plentiful. 50% of calves die before they are 6 weeks old due to predation. Oh my god. But what wants to take down a moose? I mean, sure, it's a baby moose, but its mom is probably nearby somewhere. I guess without the massive antlers, it's a little bit safer. Calves begin eating solid food at 3 weeks old and are fully weaned by 5 months old. Mothers will chase away their calves when they become pregnant again, usually when the calves are around 1 year old. Moose reach sexual maturity at 2 years old, but are unlikely to mate until they have reached full growth at 4 to 5 years old. This is especially true for males whose antlers need time to develop so they can compete for mates. I understand the male aspect of it, but I'm curious about the female aspect of it. Is this statement about waiting until 4 to 5, does that apply to males and females? Because that's potentially 2 to 3 years, quote unquote, wasted as far as very base like animal instinct might be concerned as far as survival of the species. For males, though, I understand you don't want to put yourself out there if you're always just going to have to surrender to the countless greater males that are out there. Man, that's really that's really interesting. I do find it interesting that they'll sometimes just size each other up and be like, "Nope, this is not a fight I can win. I'm out." There's got to be moments of that not happening, right? And I'd love to hear more details on that. Have there been times when a male that is clearly outmatched still decided to put up a fight, and why? There's a thought process there. Fun fact number 1, the moose is the largest and heaviest species of deer. Okay, fair enough. Fun fact number 2, the calls of the female moose during mating season can be heard 1.92 miles away. All right, that means absolutely nothing to me, but I am curious. 1.92 miles is what? Again, I kilometers for me in terms of distances. 1.92 miles in kilometers is 3.09 kilometers. Okay, I can envision 3 kilometers. That is a huge distance. Fun fact number 3, the tongue, gums, and lips of the moose are very tough to allow them to pick through and chew very woody material. Fun fact number 4, moose have no upper front teeth, but very sharp lower front teeth. Oh, that is a fun fact. Fun fact number 5, during the mating season, male moose may become so aggressive they will attack indiscriminately. They have been known to attack humans, wolves, deer, and bears. Moose attacks are the most frequent kind of animal attack in the Americas. That's good to know. Could you also tell me when mating season is, so I know not to travel too far north when it comes around? I guess it makes sense in that sort of primal way. Interesting, though. I didn't realize it would be. I know moose attacks are fairly frequent based on. I didn't realize they were the most frequent. I don't think they're all that frequent. Again, most frequent doesn't mean very frequent. They're two very different statements. I know moose attacks are a thing. I didn't realize they were that much of a thing, I guess. Any particularly special? No, I guess not. They don't have any special enrichment items. There's that melon feeder still. I do like the waterfall and metal frame, but all good, all good. I mean, these fun facts are all right. They're not blowing my mind per se. Some of them are relatively simple, but they're fun enough. Some of them. No interspecies enrichment either, because I assume during mating season, whatever other species you have in there is just going to get absolutely pummeled and crushed. But fair enough. Let's go ahead and get our moose in here. Over to our animal trading. Oh wait. I do love that this is a thing. Over to the market. It's such a good update. It is such a good update. And you know what? How can I resist getting a Nikedra in the zoo? Doesn't matter. Stats don't matter. We got to get a Nikedra in here. Yule. Oh, come on. How can we say no to Yule, right? Yep. I think Yule will be joining us. Beautiful. I would have been very upset if as I said that, it somehow became unavailable. That would be very unfortunate. Can we go ahead over to animal storage then? Yule and Nikedra. Let's send you both over to our habitat over here. Go ahead and unpause as well. start seeing the waterfall in motion. Pretty pleased with this. Yeah, I didn't want to overdo it again. I didn't want to get too overly distracted with certain elements over here. I wanted to make sure we got to the animal, you know, sooner rather than later as well, of course, to showcase the new DLC's options and just items and things like that. I will say I wish there were more items that came out of this. I feel like I might have mentioned this during the previous session, and I apologize if I sound like a broken record, but I feel like we got the short end of the stick a little bit, because we like a lot of North American animals were, yes, included in the base game, and there are a lot of really beautiful North American like items, but it would have been nice to have, you know, a few more. It would have been nice to have a few more added in with this new DLC. Just, you know, a couple more decorative elements, a couple more culturally appropriate like elements and stuff. Like, we got some really cool stuff out of Australia. We got some really, really, really cool stuff out of Australia. I thought that stuff was... It might actually be some of my favorite. I don't know. That's hard to say. But it's up there. Learned a lot by looking at some of the art. I believe they also sourced an indigenous artist for some of the artwork that was in the pieces. I thought that was really impressive. I thought that was really cool. So I was hoping for I guess something like that when it was North America's time. But alas, no such luck. At least as far as I know, because if I go ahead and look at construction and I take a look at content pack, North America pack, you'll see we get nothing over here. We get a couple of these really adorable illustrations. Don't get me wrong. I do love these illustrations. They are gorgeous. They are adorable. Go ahead and get that snap. Look at that. I mean, look. Oh my God. that does please me. And the beaver, of course, we've already seen. It's just amazing. But yeah, we've this Arctic fox makes me so happy. Like, yeah, there's some really nice illustration, you know, items here and stuff. But if we take a look really quickly over here at the Australia pack, like, look at that. Right? That's a pack, right? That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of items. And then there are some of those like inspired, you know, pieces and all that. Anyway, sorry, not to get distracted by a completely different pack. Oh my God, look at that, look at that, look at the size comparison. Stay here, stay here, stay here. Look at that. You see how terrifying that is? Okay, before we get too ahead of ourselves. Too much rock, really. Okay, fair enough. We could add some more soil, I suppose. And they don't care if there is or isn't snow, so that's good. Everything else seems to be okay. So why don't we go ahead and add... Nope. I guess I don't really need to care about the binturong and stuff. Inbreeding and stuff doesn't really matter in this zoo. It's just become such a habit. Oh, you know what? I really like how... That's pretty epic. Oh, I didn't actually take a look at it from up on high. That's pretty epic. That looks really cool. I think, at least. I mean, I hope y'all agree. But that looks really cool. Oh, look at that. And as you, like, come in through here... You can like just get a peek at it, I think. Yeah, oh, that's sick. I really like this. I'm very happy with this, actually. Even more so now that I caught that glimpse. But okay, sorry. Let's go ahead and get the soil set up over here. Where are we? Terrain. Yeah, more soil, less rock. I was like, wait, what? Soil, paint. Go ahead. Heavy soil. Let's go ahead and... I guess it's because if we have a cooler in here... You know what? I kind of like the idea of getting the coolers in here. Let's do that. For me, the moose and snow, they kind of go hand in hand. Look at this as well. Oh, come on. Why you gotta start doing fun stuff right off the bat? God, look at that, though. Alright. Go ahead and get... where are we? Habitat. Cooler, let's go. I'm sure they'll be fine with like negative 40 degrees even. I'm curious actually what their tolerance is as far as temperature is concerned. Really? Negative 22 to 20. Really? Oh yeah, really? That's actually wild to me, because in some of these parts, it gets to negative 40 very often. Like, Winnipeg, commonly known as Winterpeg, gets very cold very often, and negative 40 is like Not an exaggeration. I'm not being hyperbolic. -40 is a thing. In fact, Toronto doesn't get as cold as certain parts of northern Ontario. Even Toronto's fairly far south. Actually, it's pretty deep into like the where the northernmost point of the U.S. is, for example. So Toronto doesn't get the worst of it, but even we hit -40 at times, and with wind chill, oh my god. Not looking forward to this winter. They're saying it's going to be another bad one. I'm really liking the animation on this little like neck piece as well. Oh, of course. Look at the little like knee bend. This is like applying the needed pressure to get the job done. All right, fair enough, fair enough. Oh, you know what? Do we not have power back over here? I guess we don't. Right. Right. What if we go ahead and get ourselves a wind turbine? Maybe back over here. Sure. Cool. That should cool this space down and give us the snow that I'm hoping for. There it is. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay, hang on. There's a graphic in here somewhere with the moose head inside that little triangle. There's a visual there somewhere. Oh, I'm loving it though. I'm loving it, and these guys are huge. Look at the view from they're massive. They're massive. How do you feel about the space now, actually? Realize I should check. Still a bit too much rock. That's fine. Go ahead and get some more snow out here. All the way up over there, I think. That should do the trick. Again, when snow isn't actually on the ground, it's rock instead, right? So that's what we're seeing. Really pleased with the overall success rate of my enclosures lately. It's just like getting the details right without having to read Zoopedia first. It's a nice feeling. And it's funny how strange actually the female moose looks to me without the antlers. I'm so used to seeing male moose, I guess, that the female moose basically at a distance looks like a cow horse, you know? Oh, look at that flap. That's really well done. I'm really curious how they actually set that up to animate it. There are certain techniques you can do that that basically apply secondary animations to things. So like a jiggle or a wiggle or whatever. So I wonder if they do it like that or if they hand animate the wiggle. I don't think so, because that would be so tedious. I'd be shocked. But I am curious. Oh, look at him eyeing that guy up. Are you? You are, aren't you? No, you're not. Okay, cool. Oh my god. I love the texturing on the antler as well. It's so detailed. So detailed. Alright, let me just quickly check to see if we have actually got our baby... What was it? It was a baby beaver, right? Well, I think the best way to do it actually is zoo. Over to our animals. And over to our beaver. North American beaver. Yeah, we do have a baby, don't we? So funny. There you are. That's a baby beaver. Well, you do look so funny. So funny. Oh god. I'm on a horrible roll here. Okay, that is very adorable. Oh yeah, come on. Go in there. Get in there. Go. Go. Yes. Yes. Two things we didn't get to see last time. I'm glad we get to see them this time. Using the little lodge over here. Oh no. Oh my god. Okay. That baby's got a lot of work to do if he's going to try and be this cute. Oh, okay. Oh, fine. I take it back. He is pretty cute. Oh my god. He looks like a peanut. He's a peanut shape. Like, you know, like a peanut in its shell still. When you have to, like, crack it open and stuff. He's a little peanut shape. Oh my god, you're so cute. Whoa. I have no words. I have no words. By the way, last session I talked a little bit about beaver tails, as in the pastry, and I did put a note on the video. But I just wanted to let people know that beaver tails is also an actual delicacy, like the actual beaver tail itself. Oh, he did not like me talking about that, and neither did that baby. But yeah, it's an actual delicacy as well. Just thought I should mention because a lot of the time that question does come up. Every time I mention beaver tail, just in like conversation with people, when I meet people who are not familiar with things up over here, and anytime I mention beaver tails, I typically mean the pastry, but I get asked the question. It's like, whoa, like actual beaver tails, and like yes, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. And he's scratching his back with his antlers. Oh, it's so good. Sometimes I wish you could just watch, just see them in action. I'm glad we got to see the baby beaver not too long after the beaver episode. She did not seem to like this guy getting too close with that. What are you up to, buddy? What are you up to? One thing I really like about Jurassic World Evolution 2, which wouldn't make sense in a Planet Zoo game, but in Jurassic World Evolution 2, people who get sent into and again, this is from a preview event from fun animation from like 2 months ago now. I doubt they're going to change it though. But people who go in to like check in on the dinosaurs, they can get attacked by the dinosaurs, especially if they're carnivores. And you wouldn't really, like, zookeepers are sometimes in danger. Like, I say, I don't want to downplay it. It is still a dangerous job. I mean, these are still animals, right? So good. So yeah, it's still a dangerous job, and you can imagine there are some risks involved with being a zookeeper. But I don't think it's to an extent where you want to simulate animals attacking their keepers in a video game, right? I also imagine that might be a little bit more terrifying than, dinosaurs, which don't exist anymore, attacking it, like... I don't know. But as I see the moose, like, eyeing the keepers and stuff, I can't help but wonder. Okay, interesting. Interesting way of, like, getting up and down. At first, I was wondering if it was a little similar to how camels kind of get up and down, but no, it's really not. It has some similarities, but not similar enough. Dude's hungry. Oh. Locked eyes. Yeah, looks like they have. Oh. Okay. Interesting. Not what I would have expected. Interesting, interesting. I assume you are now expecting offspring? No. What are we looking at here? I guess they did not. That was not mating. They were just interacting. Okay, cool. I'm fine with that. I just wasn't sure. That looked like they were mating, though. No, okay, that's not... he's not using the rubbing pillar there. Off she goes. Over to the scratching tree. Yeah. I love these animations. They just look so happy. But he's using the rubbing pillar as well. Oh, that's so cool. This is what I mean. It's just like, I kind of wish we were here instead. Because that animation looked relatively generic, Just like, oh yeah, rubbing up against the tree, sure. But this was like, this seemed a lot more specific with the antlers rocking against the pillar. And the size of those antlers, though. Absolutely impressive. This space is actually very dark, very much in the shade. Which I suppose is fair. We're not getting any guests up over here. It's way too far away for guests. I could put a guest spawn point, but like, whatever. We're not here for the guests. We're here for the animals in this playthrough, right? In this mini-series, rather, I should say. I'm trying to find the best shot, though. Come here out into the sun. Oh, of course he stops just short. Got the lady back there having a little drink. The lighting in this game is insane. Also having a little drink. Now, is that because of the terrain and like video game weirdness, or do they actually submerge their entire face into the water? I imagine it's maybe a bit of column A, bit of column B. Like, I imagine they submerge quite a bit of their face into the water, but not really all that much. Look at that. Look at that lighting. Look at the antlers shadows on the body, right? And the fur and stuff. Like, it's absolutely insane. It's gorgeous. I'm awestruck, honestly. I'm at a loss for words. I got nothing to say. These guys are just impressive. If I didn't feel so bad, I'd almost want to add another male just to see and showcase the alpha fighting. We also haven't just yet seen the mating, have we? Yeah, still not expecting any mates. They're not, they don't look to bond or anything. Again, if I add a few more females, then we might be more likely to see a mating go down. But I think I'm fine. I'm fine waiting. I think I'm fine waiting. This has been another fun session, folks. But I think this is maybe where we'll call it. I don't want to like make these long just for the sake of making them long. I think we've spent a fair bit of time with these animals. We've hung out with them. We've seen them in action. We've seen we've seen quite a few of their animations and what we can expect from their overall movement and stuff like that. It's very possible that was a failed conception, but I don't think so. I don't think we've seen a mating animation just quite yet. But folks, as I wrap this session up, I just want to mention again, and as always, if you've been enjoying this mini-series, if you would like to see more like it, if you'd like to see more Planet Zoo on the channel, please don't hesitate to let me know by leaving a like and a comment down below. It does make a very, very, very big difference in just letting me know what y'all want to see. And again, if you have any feedback or thoughts or opinions, feel free to share them in the comments as well. I do read them all. Again, I've seen some of the requests for animals that y'all have been sending my way, and I have been noting them down, and I will keep it in mind as we move forward. I just want to get the moose in today just because of my own personal, I guess, affections, I suppose. I also had this idea that I wanted to execute for the moose, and I was excited to try and challenge myself to build something like this and see how it felt. And you know what? I am really quite pleased, and I hope I've done it justice. Again, I always try to be very careful with this kind of stuff, but I do hope I've done it justice. If you have any additional information, if you know better, if you have any details you'd like to share or add, again, and as always, please do not hesitate to do so in the comments. It's always a joy to read and learn. You never stop learning. That's one of my many mottos, and I'm always curious to pick up more when I can. But folks, again, like I was saying before, I hope you've enjoyed this session. If you have, you know what to do. Let me know down below. As always, it makes a massive difference in how I approach content on the channel, what I do more or less of. Like I was literally just saying, it really does have a direct impact. And the reason why we're doing this mini-series is because of your comments the last couple of times we did them, right, as we added some of these animals. And again, for those of you that are new to this channel and haven't seen the other mini-series, you can check them out. If you look up the DLC mini-series playlists on my channel, you'll be able to find them, and you'll be able to experience our, developing of a variety of really fun spaces. We have some very fun... We have some very fun spaces in this zoo, honestly. I had a joy going through the DLC with this free-form sandbox-like approach. It's been a great time, and I'm really excited to be able to add more to it. It's been fun, but yeah, folks, this is where we're going to call it. Of course, we're going to have our next episode. Still, we have another couple of animals to add, and you can definitely expect this mini-series to continue until we've added them all in. As always, of course, a massive thanks goes out to all of the channel members and patrons who've been supporting the channel on a monthly basis. Y'all keep us alive and running smoothly. And of course, a big old thanks goes out to each and every one of you for watching. Until next time, cheers.